That's what's changed, the technology and the availability to put machine guns in everybody's hands.
Well, we have been telling you right here about illegal Glock switches and their deadly capabilities since October. Devices that attach to the back of a Glock pistol that allow it to keep firing and shooting roughly 30 bullets in just 2 seconds. Glock switches are only about a 3-year-old invention. And right now we can tell you this just in fact, while we were in that commercial break, a new law in Indiana was signed by the Indiana governor today. That will update laws that prosecutors and police say were outdated. Tonight, our Focus investigator Travis Breeze tells us how state lawmakers in Indiana are trying to keep up with this technology and if Kentucky lawmakers would consider following suit.
Shooter ready.
They are cheap, they are tiny, and they take an everyday, ordinary semi-automatic firearm and turn it into a machine gun.
They don't have a serial number, they can be 3D printed at home, and the bullets can fly anywhere.
It's just so much more dangerous because of the number of civilians that, could be hit.
If you have a Glock switch, you can be charged federally for possession of a machine gun. U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Indiana, Zachary Myers, has prosecuted at least 5 people since August specifically for Glock switches. His office points out there were actually more cases, but the accused were facing other charges such as violent crimes or drug trafficking.
Unfortunately, we're seeing more and more of these in the hands of children, in the hands of teenagers, and we have to do what we can to get these off the street to make the public safer.
Myers has jurisdiction because the National Firearms Act bans all new machine guns after 1986, and the definition includes parts used for converting a weapon into a machine gun. But it takes a long time to build a federal case, and the prevalence of these devices is not slowing down.
There are 60 counties in the Southern District of Indiana, each of whom has their own elected prosecutor that covers that jurisdiction. And there's just our office.
We felt like we had to do something.
Ryan Mears is the Marion County prosecutor in Indianapolis. He's charged 87 people for possessing Glock switches under Indiana's anti-machine gun law. That law uses a more traditional definition of machine gun, and Mears admits it has been an aggressive interpretation by his office. He is now facing one lawsuit on the matter.
This issue is currently being litigated. Is our position correct? Did we go too far?
The Indiana legislature saw this and acted, passing a bill in early April that would amend the state's machine gun law to mirror federal language.
This would really bring authority back to local municipalities in order to expedite that process.
If signed by Governor Holcomb, county prosecutors would have the same confidence as the federal system in handling these cases. Across the river in Kentucky, there is no machine gun law, and people need to be transferred into the federal system.
I'm going to go ahead and dismiss all the charges here in district court.
Colin Billups of Louisville was arrested for allegedly ordering a Glock switch from China, but LMPD could only charge him with fleeing from police until a federal grand jury could indict him. Billups is the 9th federal case for Glock switches in the Western District of Kentucky.
Do you think every state with a Glock switch issue should be pursuing a law like this?
Well, it certainly provides prosecutors and law enforcement with an additional tool to address this issue. And I think it's always a good policy decision when you have a piece of equipment such as this.
The Indiana Glock switch bill passed with bipartisan support in both chambers. I asked the Kentucky House Republicans if they would ever consider something similar, and I received a statement from Representative Josh Bray saying, quote, "Machine guns have been around since the 1880s, and Kentucky has managed to survive without additional firearms restrictions on the books. The penalty that comes from a federal firearms conviction is enough of a threat to make sure these accessories don't become commonplace in Kentucky. I have full faith that our federal courts can handle these cases." Despite that statement, Kentucky has seen an 800% increase in Glock switches seized over the last 2 years, according to the Louisville ATF. In the studio, Travis Breeze, WHAS 11 on your side.